Hello there, welcome back to my channel, and this is another one of those where we're going to get some sets to compare with what's retiring in 2025. Like I said in my last video, or it might not be my last video now because I've had to make a few retakes of videos. The last video where there was a comparison anyway. There might not be comparisons for all sets because obviously there's nothing that's similar to it. But some of the sets that I've got comparisons, they've got more than one or whatever that to compare with. So hopefully this information will help you when you're looking for sets to invest in. Obviously if there's a, say for instance, a Star Wars ship or something like that, and then there's an identical one that retired a few years ago and it's exactly the same thing and it's not doing very well, then the same ship probably won't do the same this time when it retires. So it might be wise to avoid that one. Or if you look back and there's a set that is very similar and it's doing really well, then the set that's is now could be a good investment. It's just data for you. So like I say, I do this all so that it gives you more information, so that you're more informed for which to pick and what not to pick and that kind of thing. That's the whole reason why I do this. So okay, so this one it's going to be two different themes because it's ideas and Marvel. With ideas there's only two sets that there's comparisons, and then Marvel there's quite a few. Okay, so right, I'll get on with it because it's going to take a while. Right, so the first ideas set that's retiring this year, and there's a couple of comparisons to look for, is the 21335 is the motorized lighthouse, which is $259.99. Now the first comparison will be 75903. It's the haunted lighthouse. Now that was a Scooby-Doo one, so maybe it's got a bit better because it's got a Scooby-Doo attached to it, but I don't know. Anyway, that retired in 2016. It was $39.99 to buy. At the moment it's valued at $148. Now I've added this from the last video, is at the moment on Amazon it's being sold for up to £355. But the prices I've given you valued wise are just kind of like an average kind of a price you can get, rather than a low or a high side. It's just kind of somewhere in the middle. There's a fair price for it. That's the value that I'm seeing. Obviously if you go on Amazon you can ask anything you want, but whether you'll actually get that is another thing. Obviously when the people who are asking for less than you do sell out, then eventually the price will creep up to you, but at the moment, yeah. So like I say, this one was $39.99 to buy originally. I valued it at $148, and like I say, there's people on the Amazon selling it for up to $355. So that's an increase of 271% on the 148. And they sold 3,325 sets. The next comparison for their motorized lighthouse is 31051, which retired in 2017, and that's Lighthouse Point. That was $39.99 as well. It's valued at $68, although people on Amazon, there's some people selling it for up to £150. And with my 68 valuation, there's a 70% increase, and it sold 2,581 sets. Next one that's ideas is 21344, the Orient Express train, $259.99. Now this is a kind of a loose comparison. So it's 60197, which retired in 2022, which is a passenger train. That was valued at $119.99. At the moment it's $172. Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £402. That's a 43% increase. There's 12,566 sets sold. So that's all the ideas. Now I'm on to Marvel. First one is 76284, the Green Goblin construction figure, $31.99. Now the first comparison is 76259, which is the Batman construction figure that retired in 2024. That was $31.99 to buy, and I value it at around 21, which is a minus of 33%. On Amazon you can find it for sale up to £75. It sold 2,059 sets. Next one is 76258, which is the Captain America figure, and that also retired in 2024. That was $31.99 to buy as well, and I'm valuing it at about £20. That's minus 37%. and on Amazon that's being sold for up to £37, and it's sold 1,709 sets. Next one is 10794, which is the Team Spidey Web Spinner Headquarters, $49.99. Right, the comparison for that one is 10791, which is Spidey Mobile Headquarters. That's retired in 2024. That was $44.99. Now it's valued at, I'd say, $39, which is a drop of 13%. On Amazon, people are selling it for up to £97. Sold 902 sets. Next set is 11199, which is Team Spidey Dino Crawler Rescue, $24.99. The comparison for that one is 10790, Spidey at Green Goblin Lighthouse. That's retired in 2024. That was £30 to buy, and now it's valued at around 38. That did have a classification of good investment. If you look on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £75, and it's sold 1,006 sets. Next one is 76178, the Daily Bugle, $299.99. Now the comparison for that one is 76005, which is also the Daily Bugle, but it's a Daily Bugle Showdown. That retired in 2015. It was £40 to buy, now valued at $195, which is a 387% increase. At the moment, there's none being sold on Amazon or on Camel 3X. So they sold 2,740 sets. Next one is 76191, the Infinity Gauntlet, $79.99. Obviously the comparison to that one is 76223, the Nano Gauntlet. That retired in 2024. That was £60 to buy. Now it's valued at 87, which is a 44% increase. And there's none on Amazon or Camel 3X at the moment. I think people are just waiting for that to go up and then resell it. At the moment, there's no data on how many sold. Next one is 76261, the Spider-Man Final Battle, $94.99. The comparison for that one is 76266, the Endgame Final Battle. That retired in 2024. It was £95 to buy, and now I think it's valued about £65. If you look on Amazon, there are people selling it for up to £164. So that one at the moment is a loss of 31%, and it's sold, or roughly 31%, it's sold 4,828 sets. Next one is 76276, the Venom Mech Armor versus Miles Morales, $12.99. And the comparison for that is 76171, the Miles Morales Mech Armor. That retired in 2022. That was £9 to buy, and now it's valued at 20. That was a very good investment, and that's gone up 120%. On Amazon, it's being sold for as much as £47. Oh, yeah, it's for sale for up to £47. That sold 4,948 sets. Next set is 76277, the War Machine Mech Armor, $12.99. And the comparison for that is 76169, the Thor Mech Armor. That retired in 2022. That was £9 to buy. At the moment, it's valued at £20. If you go on Amazon, it's being sold for up to £44. That was a very good investment, so it's increased by 120%. That sold 5,416 sets. Next one is 76279, the Spider-Man Race Car and Venom Green Goblin, $24.99. There's two comparisons with this one. 76173, which was the Ghost Rider versus Carnage. That was retired in 2022. That was £18 when it came out, and it's valued now about £29. That was a very good investment with an increase of 61%. If you go on Amazon, it's being sold for up to £80, and it's sold 5,327 sets. The next comparison is 76150. That's the Spider Jet versus Venom Mech. That retired in 2021. That was £35 to buy, and that I value at £55. That was a good investment when it retired, which was an increase of 59%. If you go on Amazon, there's somebody selling it for up to £165. It sold 2,144 sets. Next one is 76281, the X-Men X-Jet, which was $74.99. The first comparison is 76032, the Avengers Quinjet, which retired in 2016. That was £70 to buy. Now it's valued at 118, which is a 69% increase, and it sold 2,827 sets. If you go on Amazon, there's somebody selling it for up to £162. The next comparison is 76126, which retired in 2021, which is the Avengers Ultimate Quinjet. That was £74 to buy, and now it's valued at 79, which isn't much of an increase, only 5%, or roughly. On Amazon, it's being sold for up to £220, and it's sold 5,101 sets. Next one is 76285, the Spider-Man mask. Now there's 3 comparisons to that one. You're going to know which ones, aren't you? The first one is 76251, the Star-Lord helmet, which retired in January 2025, so not long. That was £70 when it came out, and now it's valued at 81, which is only a 16% increase. But if you go on Amazon, it's being sold for up to £189, and it sold 5,582 sets. Next one is 76187, which is the Venom head, or bust, or helmet, whatever you want to call it. That retired in 2024. That was £60 when it came out. Now it's valued at 71. That was classed as a good investment when it came out. It's only gone up 18%. But if you go on Amazon, it's being sold for up to £190. And that sold 12,709 sets. And the next comparison is 76199, the Carnage. And that retired in 2022. That was £55 when it first came out, and now it's valued around 79, which is a 43% increase. If you look on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £242, and 9,652 sets sold. Next one is 76296, the new Captain America construction figure, $29.99. And obviously the comparison is 76258, the old Captain America construction figure. That retired in 2024. It was £32 to buy. Now it's worth about 20, which is a loss of about roughly 38%. If you look on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £42, and it sold 1,709 sets. Next one is 76287, the Iron Man with Bike and Hulk, $12.99. There's 3 comparisons with that one. The first one is 10721, the Iron Man versus Loki. That was retired in 2016. It was £12 to buy. Now it's valued at around 41, which is a 243% increase. But if you go on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £165 for a £12 set. Sold 978 sets. Next comparison is 76072. That's 2017. It retired. That was Iron Man versus Thanos. That was £9 to buy. Now it's valued at around £18, which is a 103% increase. If you go on Amazon, it's selling for up to £109. That was classed as a good investment back when it was retiring, and it sold 1,618 sets. And the last comparison is 76008. That retired in 2015. That was £12 to buy. Now it's valued at around £30, which is a 150% increase. But if you go on Amazon, it's being sold for up to £147, and that sold 3,242 sets. The next one is 76288, the Iron Man and Iron Legion versus Hydra Soldier, 1999. Now basically with this set, really the last 3 comparisons you could compare with that as well, so it's basically the same information. So the next set is 76289, Thor versus Surtur construction figure, $24.99. That one, the comparison is 76097, Lex Luthor mech takedown. That retired in 2018. It was £35 to buy. Now it's valued at around 71, which is a 103% increase. But if you go on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £280 for a £35 set. 1,363 sets sold. The next one is 76295, the Avengers Helicarrier, $69.99. The comparison for that is 76153, the Avengers Helicarrier. That retired in 2021. It was £110 to buy, and it's valued at about £145 now, which is a 31% increase. But if you go on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £220, and it's sold 2,618 sets. And the next one, and the last one for this video and Marvel, is 76286, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Milano, £159.99. The comparison for that one is 76081, the Milano versus the Obelisk, or Obelisk, however you want to pronounce it. That retired in 2018. It was £45 to buy. Now it's valued at about 109, which is a 143% increase. But if you go on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £314, and they sold 3,166 sets. So that completes those two themes. My next theme that I'm going to compare with is Harry Potter. I'm just looking to see in my book. Yeah, so it's the Harry Potter I'll start with in my next video. But because there's some of the sets, I'm not doing all of them because there's not comparisons for them. Some of the themes might only be 1 or 2 sets, so I will kind of do a few themes in one video to make it so that it's a long enough length to do. Okay, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.